For our first video in this series, I'm going to interview Tess to learn more about her journey. Tess, tell us about minimalism and what it means to you.
Well, for me, over the years, I've learned that physical clutter in my space kind of equates to emotional clutter. And so I've been trying through my adult life to continually go through my closet, go through drawers, and keep things organized, but stuff always accumulates. And so I've just started to realize that minimalism is going to start not just with organizing what's around me, but also with my mindset and how I buy things in the first place and bring things into the home.
How long would you say you've pursued this minimalist idea?
I didn't actually start thinking about minimalism by that name until probably last fall, so not quite a year. But I have really enjoyed organizing and going through and eliminating old things that I don't use. But I didn't really take a very deliberate approach to it till recent months.
So how did you get started?
Just reading about organizing and decluttering, and then I started stumbling onto a lot of videos and blogs and things where people talked about minimalism and questions to ask yourself as you are getting rid of things in your life, and so that's kind of how I found it.
What have you done so far to minimize your possessions?
So starting last fall, I made a goal to fill my little Honda Fit, little hatchback, with a load of things to donate once a month, and I've done that. And so it's involved going through every room of the house. I've gone through my closet multiple times, and I've gotten rid of more and more. Every time I've gone through it, I've done the kitchen, and as we moved, we really had the opportunity to go through everything, and anything we ran out of time for went into a storage unit, which we're now working on. But I just kind of started with my own stuff, like my wardrobe and my toiletries, and branched out from there.
Of all the possessions you had about a year ago, what percentage of them would you say are gone now?
Probably close to 3/4.
And what has been the feeling as you've done that?
It's felt really good. There are some things that, even though I knew that I didn't need them, they weren't adding value to my life anymore, it was still hard to let them go because some of them were still good and nice things. But it was amazing to me that, for example, I had over a dozen dresses in my closet, and now that I'm down to one dress and a couple of skirts, I can think of maybe about 3 of the other dresses that were in my closet, but I don't even know what the rest of those dozen plus were. So it feels good, and there were moments where it was hard and I hesitated on some things, but once it's gone, a few days later, I feel great. I feel lighter, and I feel good about the decision. I haven't regretted getting rid of anything yet.
What tips or little pieces of advice have you learned about to make it easier to make the transition?
There's a ton of resources online, and some of the most helpful ones that I found were just looking at lists of questions that people had to ask yourself as you're going through this process. I found a lot of these on Pinterest, and then more of them on, sometimes Pinterest led me to blogs that were about minimalism. And so things like, if your house burnt down, would you replace this? Or if you were shopping today, would you buy this now? And just lots and lots of different questions to consider. And that kind of helped me have the right mindset as I was going through things.
We'll put a link to that blog post from our blog in the comments below. What little pieces of advice do you have for someone who's curious about it and would like to become more of a minimalist, but afraid to take the first step?
I know that there's a lot of people out there who are saying that minimizing and decluttering your house is something that you should do really quickly in a short space of time. But I would say, give yourself a few months or a year and do several passes of each space in your home. Because I think of, for example, the first time that I went through my closet, I got rid of some stuff. By the third time I went through my closet, there were things that I was like, why was I reluctant to hang on to this the other 2 times? And so continually going back and making rounds of the different spaces over the course of several months, and my perspective changed with time, and I was ready to let go of more and more as time went on. So I would say for me, it was beneficial to kind of take my time and wait to get rid of things until it just felt right. And then it wasn't hard at that point.
If you could go back in time and change your life, what would you change to make the transition into the minimalist lifestyle easier?
I probably would have changed the way that I bought things before, because I was a clearance shopper. I would find things that were cute and it was a good deal, and I would wear it maybe a couple times and then get bored of it. I would have changed the way that I bought things, because it would have made the whole process of minimizing my life a lot easier. I wouldn't have brought as much in the first place, and just been more deliberate about the way that I buy things and the way that I allow myself to be advertised to, and just been more aware as a consumer.
So how do you buy things differently now with the mindset you have now? What goes on in your head?
I'm less distracted by what's just in front of me. When you go to grocery stores, you know what you need on the different aisles, but they put things on the end caps, and those are the things that maybe you didn't come to the store for, but they're meant to grab your attention. And I did kind of fall into that, or if I was clothes shopping, just perusing the clearance, maybe sometimes without knowing what I was looking for. And so now when I go into a store, I always go into a store knowing exactly what I'm looking for, and I don't buy things that I didn't decide on before walking in.
What has been the hardest part about the minimalist life?
The hardest part has probably been being patient, because living with the love of my life, we're not always on the same page at the same time, and realizing that that's okay. I've really been guilty of trying to push my agenda on Steve, and second and third and fourth guess every call he makes on things. And so that's been the hardest thing, is just learning for me, and just learning to trust that you are going to go through your own journey as well, and you totally have. So that was probably the hardest part, was just learning to be less ramrod about it.
What are you missing in your life now that you're more of a minimalist?
I don't think I miss anything, because the less stuff I have, the less time I spend managing my stuff, and I have more time to do activities that I actually want to do, and I have the mental and emotional energy to pursue those things, and also to pursue relationships more, which has been nice.
Now, minimalism is a journey, and everyone's in a different place. Some people think you shouldn't have more than 100 possessions. Some people say 50, some people say 1 million. Everyone's different, and there's no right or wrong. What would you like to do more to become more of a minimalist that you're struggling with now?
Yeah, I guess I am still in the process, and I think one of the areas that I do want to improve on is my toiletries and makeup and things like that. I've already really downsized it a lot, but still when I look at our toiletries in the bathroom, I'm like, oh, this all fit in an RV anyway. So learning to find things that do multiple jobs. I'm using up a lot of the stuff that I have and not planning to replace some of it. I think that's probably a big one, is all the little higgledy-piggledy bottles and things, and simplifying that a little bit further.
Awesome. This has been very insightful. What are your closing thoughts or closing remarks?
I guess I just hope you guys enjoy watching our journey as we continue. It's really exciting. Our storage unit is getting emptier and emptier, and it feels so good. I had a very concerned but well-meaning friend ask me when we told her that we were selling off most of our stuff and that our storage unit was emptying out. She was like, "Are you sure that this is a good thing?" And I'm like, absolutely. There's no question in my mind that whatever the future holds, that we're doing what's right for us now. At the very least, we're hitting the reset button. And if a few years from now we decide to get into a house again, all of those things can be replaced, and probably all of them won't be replaced in our case.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.